friends, from the price, I would like to give you an update. The operation was in a reasonable range, facing the challenge brought by the home and abroad. Look at the service industry continued to grow, and the modern service industry grew as a stronger forces. The index of service production increased by 6.3%, 0.3% slower than last month. For the first 7 months, the index increased by 7.1% year-on-year, grew. And the information transmission software, information technology service, and the leasing and the business service grew by 17.2% and 7.3% year-on-year respectively, 10.9 percentage point and 1.0 percentage point higher than the average. We look at the business activity number is 0.45 percentage point lower, but that's above the benchmark. We look at the different sectors. That's the railway transport, air transport, post communication, telecommunication, broadcast television, satellite transformation service, internet software, information technology service, all stay within the expansion range. Second, we look at the industrial production, witness growth and stable, and high-tech manufacturing grew fast. The total value added of the industrial enterprises above the decade size grew. And the number for the first 7 months increased by 5.8%, 0.2 percentage point lower than the first 6 months. By type of ownership, the number for state-holding enterprises went by 3.7%, and the number for shareholdings 6.6%, and the number for the companies from Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan down by 0.3%. In terms of sectors, number for mining, manufacturing, and the production and supply of electricity, thermal product, gas, and water grew by 4.9%. The value added of high-tech manufacturing grew by 6%, 1.8 percentage point higher than that of industrial enterprises above that designated size. The production of new energy vehicles and solar cells also grows. In July, the PMI number, especially the sub-index, the production index, and the supply developer time index grow both higher than the threshold. Third, we look at the market sales of the consumer goods. The number grew by 7.6%. 0.2 percentage points lower than that of the month. The number, except the cars, increased by 8.8% year-on-year, more or less the same as last month. And 22,000 billion yuan raised by the June. We look at group by consumption patterns. The income for the rural area increased by 7.4%. The number for the rural area is increased by 8.6%. Look at by type of the consumption for catering, up by 9.4% year-on-year. The retail sales of goods is 29,000 billion yuan. And for cosmetics coverage, the beverage and the medicine, the TCM increased by 9.4%, 9.1%, 6.7%, and 14.5% respectively. 1.8 percentage points, 5.4% and 6.9 percentage points higher than the total retail sales of retail sales. We look at the online retail sales of physical goods increased by 16.8%, 1.0 percentage lower. And the online sales of non-physical goods up by 20.9%, taking 9.4 percentage point of the total retail sales of consumer goods. Fourth, we look at the investment structure continue to optimize. And the fixed assets It's 34,000 billion yuan, and the 0.1 percentage points lower. The private industry up by 5.4%. The number for the primary industry down by 1.2%. The tertiary sector increased by 3.4%, among which investment in manufacturing was up by 3.3%, 0.3 percentage point faster. The tertiary industry went up by 7.0%, among which the investment in infrastructure increased by 3.8%, investment in high-tech manufacturing industry and in equipment manufacturing industry and high-tech service increased by 11.1% and 11.9%. 5.4 percentage point and 6.2 percentage point faster than the total investment. The total investment in real development increased by 10.6%, 0.3 percentage points lower than the first previous month. The floor space of commercial buildings sold 0.3 percentage points lower. The total sales of commercial building increased by 6.2%. We look at the service unemployment rate. The newly increased employed people in urban areas accomplished 79% of the total target. The surveyed unemployment rate increased by 0.2 percentage point. We look at the number for the age from 25 to 59 was more or less the same as the previous year. The work hours averaged 46.5 hours per week, 0.5 hour more than last month. So we look at the CPI and the PPI. And seventh, the growth of import and export accelerated, and the trade structure is optimized. The export delivery value of industrial enterprises of declarations rates increased. We'll look at the supply side structure. The assets to liability ratio decreased by 0.3 percentage point, and we have light storage in the commercial buildings down by 8.4%. We look at the cost for per 100 yuan turnover of principal business of industrial enterprise above the decade size also decreased. We look at the investment in education environment increased by 6.1 and 18.2%. From January to 6, we look at the profit increased by 18.6. The emerging industries, high-tech industries increased by 12.1% and 11.4%, and 2.3 and 2.1 percentage point faster than the average. And the profit return is the same as the last previous month and last year. Look at the business turnover increased by 4.7%. The margin is increased by 1.47 percentage point. Overall, the national economy continued to stay stable within a good momentum. However, we must be fully aware of the severe and complex environment both at home and abroad. We still have a down pressure on our economy. We need to strengthen our foundation. For our next step, we should take Xi Jinping's thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics as the guideline, carry out the spirit, and also follow the work arrangement, and should focus on the reform and opening up. We should also coordinated the domestic and international economic global work, and also step up the reform and opening up, ensure the implementation of policies. We focus on stability in areas like the sector, ensure the economy running within the reasonable range. We should make our economy operate in a stable, sustained, and healthy way. Now the floor is open for questions. CCTV, according to your briefing, we'll look at the numbers. In July, a little bit slower than June. So what's the reason behind? And we also look at the operation. What's the feature, especially for July? You'll notice that some indicators compared to the previous months, we have some fluctuation. The fluctuation can be answered in the following ways, quite normal. So we should take the full consideration, especially take the bigger picture into the consideration, into our mind. So we can see the general direction of our national economy. According to the information available, we look at the consumer price, employment. Overall, we can say still operate in a reasonable rate. So it's maintaining the stability while making progress for the following 4 areas. Number one, we'll look at the industrial sectors. Overall, they operate in quite stable way. You look at the value added, increased by 5.8%. And we talk about the high-tech industry. They enjoy a faster speed. That's also in response to our high-quality development. Look at the modern service industry. That's also enjoy a good momentum, increased by 7.1%. 1.3 percentage point higher than the average. We look at the information technology. The software and information tech service increased by 24.2%. We look at leasing and the business service increased by 8.1%. That's quite rapid growth rate. So overall, we look at the high-tech emerging industry. They all maintain a double-digit growth rate. Second, we look at domestic needs that also further expanded. We look at the investment that's quite stable. Like the investment in fixed assets increased by 5.7%. It's stable. Number for manufacturing increased by 3.3%, a increase for the 3 months in a row. The investment in manufacturing and the high tech also increased. We'll look at the investment. These are the weakness point that increased by 14%, and the education also increased 18.5%, all maintain a high speed momentum. We look at the market. The total retail sales of consumer goods increased by 8.3%. We look at the number for catering increased by 9.4%. The daily articles also increased, accounting for 19.4% of the total consumer goods. And third, we look at the foreign trade that's also enjoy a rapid growth. We look at import-exports. July, the import-export of goods increased by 5.7%, 2.6 percentage point faster than previous months. Number for export, 10.3%, 4.2 percentage point faster than last month. Like the structure also further improved. The general trade account for 55.8%, 0.8 percentage point higher. And the foreign trade also enjoyed quite good momentum. The FDI increased 7.3% for the high-tech industry. The FDI also have a quite significant increase by 14.3%. By the end of July, the foreign reserve is quite abundant, more than 3 trillion. And then we look at the price level, the unemployment rate. We look at the newly employment we finished the 70% of the target of the whole year, and we look at the registered unemployment is also maintained at a lower level. The number for the urban area, but also need to take consideration of the graduates. So the number a little bit increased. But we talk about the people from 25 to 59 years old. The unemployment rate is 4.6%, which is the same as the previous month. Look at the price. The overall is moderate. The CPI increased 2.3%. July, the number is 2.8%, 0.1 percentage point higher. That's because of the structural issue, and also price for pork that's also increased as the driver. But excluding the food and energy, the overall price increased by 1.6%. That's maintained quite a stable momentum for the previous 3 months. So above the 4 points, we can tell, like in the supply side and demand side, we look at the price and employment. Overall, we can say right now the national economy continue to stay stable with a good growing momentum, but we still need to put full attention that the severe and complex environment, both at home and abroad, we're facing the new uncertainties and challenges. So we should further implement the arrangement given by the central government and the state council. We should follow the general working guideline and also to stimulate the market entities to make sure our economy can develop in a healthy and stable way. Thank you. China News Agency. We'll look at the total retail sales of consumer goods, a little bit decrease. What's also your take on that? So according to the information I just introduced, we'll look at the total retail sales of consumer goods increased by 7.6%. Slower than the number in June. Also the impact of automobiles, because in June we had a transfer from the national level 5 to national level 6. So a lot of car companies, they have a round of big promotion. So that's why you could see the number a big increase in June. In July, that's also because of the policy transfer, so that the number slowed down a little bit. By around 2.1 percentage points lower. This is a major reason behind. By the way, excluding the automobile number, the total retail sales of consumer goods increased 8.8% in July. We can tell this quite stable or maintain the same level as the previous months. So overall, we can tell it enjoy a rapid growth rate. So this is quite a structural figures. So a lot of sectors still enjoyed a momentum. And we look at the number for catering, it's performing very good. So also the local governments also issue a lot of the initiatives to simulate the total retail of consumer goods. So we look at the number for caterings above that designated size increase. And look at the beverage, the alcohol, the cigarettes also has a good momentum. Number for beverage increased by 9.4%, 10.9% for the alcohol and cigarettes, all faster than the previous months. And we look at the number for the sports and recreation also increased, maintain a quite fast speed. We look at the daily usage, also enjoy quite a fast speed, also enjoy a double-digit growth. Fourth, we look at the online retail sales for the previous 7 months, 20.9% increase, 12.6 percentage point higher than the total retail sales consumer goods, accounting for more than accounting a larger share of the total retail sales of consumer goods by 2.1 percentage point. So overall, all these numbers show a very good signs, and no matter total retail sales of consumer goods or the service goods also enjoy a great momentum. We're looking to the future, the whole momentum. Look at the potential. With a population of 1.4 billion, we believe we enjoy the largest group of middle-income population. So they also represent a great potential of consumption. We look at the household income. The household income or the GDP per capita increased 0.2 percentage point faster than the growth of GDP, so which also a good support to the consumption, especially the consumption upgrading. And we look at the market, we also look at the online sales is all enjoy quite good momentum, and that will also represent an improved environment. And we also have a basket of policies to further promote that Internet plus home, Internet plus industries, these kinds of the policies. So hope we can, by issuing these policies, we can give more support to the industrial development. I believe we have a great potential to be unlocked in terms of consumption potential. We have that condition in place.
谢谢经济日报。就是我们看这个就业数据啊，就业形势呢，就是说总体稳定，但是我们看到这个
Economic daily, we look at the employment rate. We can tell the overall employment situation quite stable, but we still face a pressure. So how you understand this kind of pressure? And we look at the surveyed unemployment rate. Whether that not really take the consideration of migrant workers. So do you think that also reflect the structural issues? What's your take on that? Thank you. You asked 2 questions. To your first questions, so why the surveyed unemployment rate increased to 0.2%? We know employment actually holds the key of the national economic development, so we already paid a great attention to this area. We talk about this is a big impact because the factor of graduates. We have the 8.3 million graduates right now come to the market. So that's also a big impact to the number in July. So you can see that reflects in the surveyed unemployment rate. But we look at the whole momentum, generally speaking. Right now, the graduates right now finding the jobs. I believe this number will get back to the previous level. We look at the overall situation. We monitor a group of people from 25 to 59 years old. So for this group of people in July, the unemployment rate is 4.5 percentage points, same as the previous month. So we can tell the overall employment sector is stable. And second, we talk about the sample base is quite narrow. The migrant workers, whether included or not. And also we talk about the sampling in line with the time. I believe that maybe everyone not so familiar with our samplings, how we get the number for surveyed unemployment rate, because this number actually a quite important index in the macro economy started from last April. We include this number into our data that will disclose to the public on a regular basis. So based on our previous practice and how we control these numbers, we conduct a bunch of trials. So we have the labor force survey that support us to get the numbers. So basically, we look at all the Chinese mainland working force. And we also have the monthly urban survey samples that covered more than hundreds of thousands of households. So from a very professional level, we talk about the 95% cities included. And the buffer level is around 3.5%. This number actually we can tell is lower than the majority of the developed countries. So this can have a quite meaningful numbers. So from 2006, we already established this mechanism, and we did a survey number twice per year in order to better deal with the financial crisis. And we actually wrote out the number, including 31 big cities in China. And we conduct the numbers every month until 2016 in order to get a more accurate number and reflect the bigger picture of the employment market. We bring all these mechanisms integrated. And as I mentioned, April 2018 is our first time to issue the integrated number. So from the methodologies and also the sample base, we fully learned the practice of developed countries. So your questions. I believe that can quite accurate and reflect the picture right now of the employment rate. And talking about the migrant workers. We select the communities that included in these communities that should be all participating in our survey. So no matter you are the permanent residents or the migrant workers, as long as you are in the scope of the labor force survey mechanism, you should be all included, and that the number actually all captured. And talk about the maintaining and upgrading the sampling. Every year we have the authority actually did this kind of job. And talk about the 90,000 household samples. We talk about some the communities that's dismantled, and we update our sample pool. So this also help make sure our data sample pool is always keep up with the time. So we will also double our effort to improve our DA surveyed unemployment system. So far, it can still reflect the true picture of the employment market. We know we have a big pressure, downward pressure, especially because of the quite complex external environment. Talk about the trade friction, how big it impact our numbers, and what's our next step. Thank you for your question. So basically, you're asking about the external environment, how that impact our national economy, and what's the next momentum for our national economy development. So overall, look at our index. The fundamental of our macroeconomy is stable and making progress. Looking the future, first, on one hand, we look at quite a severe and complex international environment. And the international organizations also downgraded the whole outlook of the future economic growth. So we look at the growth rate and also the quantity of economic output, all downgraded by the international organizations. I look at the China situation. On one hand, we already felt the downward pressure on our economy, but for this year, we adopted counter the measures that right now works. And we also keep fostering the new drivers. These counter-cyclical policies worked. We talk about it. The new drivers actually it's increased 16.1%, higher than the growth rate of GDP, which you can tell the new drivers right now is keeping replacing the old ones. And we talk about the international rankings. China ranked 14, 3 places up. That's a great momentum. This is we talk about the innovation-driven development. So China rank a higher places. We talk about the high-tech manufacturing, the value added to this area increased 2.9% higher than the total, the average level. So we talk about the new drivers should be the key actors to drive the national economy's growth further. And we talk about the business or the key market entities. It will be more energetic. We can see a big momentum from the innovators. We'll look at the daily registered business is 196,000. And the number for July is 113,000. So this is a daily number. You can see the number keep increasing as daily registered new enterprises. This also reflects that we adopted the policies to improve our business environment. So we also can see a great momentum in the startups. And look at the improvement in the business productivity for the private sectors. A number increased by 3.3%, and the profit increased by 6%, also faster than the overall situation. So we can tell private sectors is performing quite strong. So all in all, we can tell the market entities be more energetic. That's also bring more energy to the whole national economy. We talk about our next step, and we keep release the policy dividends. We talk about cut fees and taxes. So there are a bunch of the policies in this regard. And we talk about the cut in the value-added taxes, and also the taxes in the social insurance. All these policies bring the benefit to the enterprises. They increase their more sense of gains. According to our survey, about how they feel about the fee and taxes cuts. 52.2% of the surveyed enterprises say that they indeed benefit from this policy. So this number is 3 percentage points higher than the Q1, and the number actually is keeping increasing in the 6 months in a row. Not only 6 months, it's 6 quarters. Talking about our next step, we have a whole bunch of policies and arrangements made by the central government, the CPC Central Committee. And we will further take the initiative to stimulate the private sectors. So we will see how these policies is going to work. So we talk about the energy, we talk about the new drivers, and also the policies. All these will work together to drive our economies growing. We have this condition in place to make sure our economy can grow in a stable and healthy way. My questions regarding the price. The price grows by 7.2%. Talk about the price increase in pork, increased by 70%. Right now, we will see the increase in pork still have the further room for increasing, or we talk about the right now China halt the purchasing of soybeans from United States, that also will impact the price of soybeans. So your question basically regarding the price and the momentum of price. Especially the price of pork, it decreased month on month, but still year on year the number increased. Yes, indeed. We look at the demand and the supply, especially the supply is quite tightened. That's because of the situation happened in Africa, that's the spring fever. So that's impact the price of pork. We talk about right now the situation between uneven supply and demand that of course impact the price of pork. But look at the good sign. For example, related authorities and the localities right now start to adopt the initiatives like we policies in like a large-scale farming or the large scale of the in-peak cultivation, and also we give the subsidies to these kind of farmers. I believe that's a good sign. Of course, it takes time. With all these initiatives start to generate benefits, we believe that it will also help to lower the price of pork. Talking about the price in the agricultural products. For the grain price, it's not quite war rate. We look at the buy structure. There's a big increase still because of the pork. But we also look at the other agricultural products. It's quite stable. We look at the grain. We have a very good harvest this year in summer. So overall, the price in grain only increased by 0.6%. So for the food price, it's fairly stable, and we had a really good foundation for us to maintain this price. Thank you.
谢谢主持人，我是日本经济新闻的记者。7月份服务业的生产的增速比上个月有所回落，然后那个回落的幅度也有点大。你认为这个背后有什么原因呢？谢谢。
We'll look at the increase in agricultural products decrease. What's the reason behind? Oh, sorry, that's for the service sector. So look at the service sector. I believe the index of service production is 3.3 percentage point, 6.3%, a little bit slower than the previous months. That's also because of structural issues. That's the wholesale and retail sectors. Because of the automobile sectors, there's a little bit impact on the increased level. We talk about the service sectors, the number is showing a downward pressure. That's because of the retail sectors performance. We look at the other sectors, the service sectors. We look at the leasing and business services, information transformation, software and information tech services all enjoy quite good momentum. So take all these factors into consideration. For a bigger picture, overall it maintains a rapid growth rate. Thank you. Due to the interest of time, last two questions. From CNR. We talk about the flood that may also impact the price of the agricultural products. So what's your take on that? And also look at the investment and development that also show a little bit slower sign. So we'll look at the typhoon that brought a series of the flood, the downpours. So people quite worried that it may impact the consumption price. So look at the CPI level for the previous 7 months. It's 2.3% for the core CPI, so which not including food and energy. So it's maintained 1.6%. That's maintained quite a lower level for the 3 months in a row. So overall, we can tell. Only the price of food, it increased at 9.1%. Non-food only increased 1.3%. You can tell right now this is quite a structural factors lead to this increasing. We look at the fresh fruit, and it decreased the 0.2 percentage point. So you can see this very good sign. I believe with more seasonal fruits into the market, the overall price of the fresh fruit will continue to decrease. We have that condition coming to us. Look at the price of pork. As I just mentioned, we all have that the condition to lower the price. And we will also keep a closer eye on the price and also how that impacts the whole CPI. And we talk about agricultural products, food, grain. We have quite abundant supply. So the price is also right now not high. So overall agriculture products, we enjoy very good, favorable condition. And look at the service sectors right now is improving. Look at the currency. We right now enjoy a quite moderate monetary policy that also give us a favorable environment to keep the price stable. And look at the commodities. The internal environment actually have the impact. So we look at the overall picture in terms of our service, commodities, the currencies, the supply and demand. We can tell we have a condition to maintain our price of consumption in a stable manner. And to your second question, you talk about the realistic investment and development. You talk about the future momentum. Right now, we look at for the first 7 months, the number for realistic is 10.6%. So the growth rate right now we can see quite stable and faster growth. We talk about the commercial buildings sold and the floor space available. All these numbers, you can tell right now the real estate market is quite stable. So look at the tier 1 to 3 cities, the price of the commercial building is quite stable. The growth rate is slower. So our estimation is also quite, we will keep this momentum. So the real estate market enjoy quite stable and healthy fundamentals. Last question.
我有2个问题啊，第一个是我想再问一下，你们对于中美贸易战啊，对于这个出口和消费啊影响的预期的一些分析和判断啊。第二个问题是我看这个报告里面。
My question is still regarding the China-U.S. friction, how that impact import-export.
我想是不是可以理解为近期不会有太大的新的政策，宏观政策包括货币和财政政策的出台。那么下一步您刚才说。
And we talk about the macroeconomic measures should be fixed, and the macroeconomic the policy should be flexible. Does that mean we will not in the coming period will have no further macroeconomic policies be released? So to your first question regarding the China-U.S. economic trade friction, as I just introduced, look at the macroeconomic foundation, look at the price level, look at the employment ratios, we can tell overall is quite stable. While making progress, so overall the performance steady. So no matter you look at the numbers for the previous 7 months in total, or only the number in July, we can tell we're making quite a steady performance while making progress, and we will further facilitate and liberate the trade and investment. And we'll look at export increase 0.4 percentage points in the previous months. So overall, it's under control. Talk about our next step. So overall, we talk about the macroeconomic foundations show a quite good sign. The macroeconomic policies right now start to deliver the benefit and also laid a solid foundation for our next step of development and growth. I believe with more benefit generated by all these policies, so we not really resort to a deluge of stimulants. We want to further unlock the market entities, energies, and also improve the business environment and deepen the supply side structural reform. All these policies working together, we can pursue a high-quality development, and we will further improve our economic structures. We are at a quite critical juncture. I believe all the difficulties should be resolved by the policies that further stimulate our domestic drivers. We have the confidence and the conditions and the foundations to make our economic development in a healthy and stable way. Thank you. At the end of the press conference,